Okay. So we're going to go to calendars next. And the thing is that because we talked about everything syncing with the iCloud, we have to make sure your settings for all of this stuff are correct, because it does us no good if we're entering an event in our work calendar and we're really looking at just our home calendar. So I'm going to go through, and again, you guys, it's going to be best to review this. It'll be at the beginning of the second part of the recording when you get it on there. So I'm going to go through into a couple areas here to show what we have. First off, I'm going to click on calendar. And if I click on calendars here, it shows me, this is very similar to the groups we just talked about. First and foremost, if you're having trouble and your stuff doesn't sync, more than likely your events are on my Mac, which was the old way it used to do it. It used to keep them on your Mac. So anything in there will not sync with your iOS devices. It has to be under iCloud. And while I have a few different calendars here, these are actually subscribed to calendars. Is why you can tell what these little broadcasts are. But I pretty much put everything right under a work calendar. I just use that as my default. That being said, when you go up to calendar, preferences, and we're on the Mac now, I want to set my default calendar to not be on my Mac, because then it's only on my Mac. Don't do like one client I have. Please don't have 30 different calendars. You can put search terms in, you can do whatever you want, but do not make a ton of calendars. So, work, it has to be an I.
How would you undo it at this point if you've done it?
Call Ken. But I'll tell you how you can undo it. It's pretty simple. It takes a little bit of work. So let's look here. It's kind of tough. I'm going to make a new event let's do it this way. So I'm going to make a new event. First I click on today. It shows us it's here. So I'm going to make a new event right here on the 13th. So I'm going to double click on the date, and we'll call it test. What a surprise. And now over here it tells me, well, what calendar do I want to put it in? I'm going to just make this one in the wrong calendar right now. Okay? So now I've created a test event, and you'll notice it's not green. These other colors have to do with holidays and other things like that. So if I have, let's say I'd made this one, actually let's turn this one to on my Mac. Yeah, it's a bento is on my Mac. Yeah, I have it hidden, or it's right here. So now it's on my Mac. So that will not show up on any of my other devices and not on iCloud.com. And a lot of you may have it. So let's say you have events. Now, how can I find out what those are? The best way to do it is I can deselect all my calendars. And look at that. The only thing showing in my calendar is things that are on this calendar, okay? So now I know, oh, I've got to change that one. So I double click on that event and I say change it to, I'll just change it to home so I can see this. Oops, it was Empower Mac, so it's teal. See, and it changed it to my Empower Mac. Now it's no longer on my Mac. I do want to turn on the rest of my calendars for this exercise. I'm sorry? When you go to the event and I double click on the event, you'll notice this little pull down right here is a little too simple, but if I click on that, it says which calendar do you want to assign that event to. So this is the legwork you'll have to do. Now remember, things that were in the past you can leave in the past. If you really feel like you want to, you can go back through and change all the rest of those. When you get all done with it, you're going to want to delete that one. Al, go ahead.
What
I don't think you can. The one thing you can do is, let me look at, we used to have list view.
Okay, Google Calendar. And,
No, it's really,
how about like
you know what? Hey, maybe you can do this. Let's see if we can save this. Export. Yeah, you might be able to export the whole calendar and then bring it back in. Let's test that. And let's put test back on Bento. This would be good. Way to think outside the box. So I'm going to export. I don't want calendar archive because just like with contacts, this will back up your whole calendar. So before you do any wholesale calendar changes, do the exact same thing. But export, and it's called Bento. I'm going to throw it to the desktop. Export. Now, let's see what happens if I import from my desktop. Hang on. Let's deselect Bento because I don't want it to come into that calendar. And I don't think it will. My default calendar is work. So for right now, I'm just going to, well, it's only bringing in one thing. So I'm going to say import that calendar I just exported. And it asked me what. You have just saved everyone here a lot of work. Everybody give Al a hand. Unless you start to do this, you won't know how much of a lifesaver this is. In fact, that helps me a lot with what I do because I've had to go through and do it. So let's go back over what we did. I took the Bento calendar or any other calendar you have. You have to do them one at a time. If you have 3 calendars on my Mac, you would do them one at a time. So I hit export, and it's named Bento because that was the calendar name, and I just sent it to the desktop, okay? So it's on my desktop. So I took the calendar that I want to, it's got 3,000 events in it. That'd take a while. So I just exported the whole calendar. Then I go up here, and I hit import, and now I go find that exported calendar and say import it. And where do I want to import it to? I want to import it into my regular calendar. So it still exists in my other calendar, though. Remember the Bento? It still exists in there. But I want to add it to work here. And now you'll look and see now I have 2 of them. Okay? So now I can go back here and test and test.
So this is like having a group of calendars and all in one calendar.
No, it's taking a calendar that's on my Mac. We've exported the events in that calendar, and now we're importing them into a different calendar. There's no way to do it direct. So,
But that's just for catch-up, really, right?
well, that's really if you have them on my Mac, or a lot of you might have a Yahoo calendar, or you might have a Gmail calendar, and you want to consolidate them into one calendar. This is how you would do it. But the one I see most is on my Mac. So I can now take this file and I control-click, and I can delete that calendar. Okay? I'm not going to do it because this is tied to Bento, which I used to mess with. It's not, I don't use it. I could easily do it. But I can also just go here and just delete the one.
What about the duplicates? Is there a way on the calendar to duplicate?
Like here I have duplicates. That's because it's set up to some other stuff. There's no way to get rid of duplicates other than do them, yeah. So let's go back to where I was, and then I'm going to talk about the calendar in specific. But in preferences, it's critical that your default calendar is set to a default calendar. In other words, when I make a new event in calendar on my Mac, it's going to put it in work. Let's go and show you where that applies on your iOS device. I go to, iPad? Why didn't you? I wonder if it happened in our little fall. There we go. So it's in a little different spot on your iPad or iPhone. You click Settings, and you scroll down to Mail, Contacts, and Calendars. And in here, you'll get a list down here. So first off, we talked about contacts earlier. You can set your sort order. It's independent of all your devices, first name first, last name first, etc. And you come down here, your My Info, remember the little silhouette? The other one is, my default account is my iCloud account. I definitely want that because we want it to sync back and forth. That was in contacts. Now, when I go down to calendars, if you look here, when I hit default calendar, there's no choice for on my Mac because it doesn't sync. All my iCloud calendars show up here. So it's on work. It's the one I select. Therefore, when I make a new event on my iPad and on my Mac, they're going to sync, and my iPhone's the same. On the iPhone, it looks exactly the same. You go on down to Mail, Contacts, and Calendars, and you go to...
So that if you do something on the Mac, it will or will not sync.
It will, as long as you're using an iCloud calendar.
And you can use an iCloud calendar on the Mac.
Right here, let's look at it.
Okay.
Right here, okay? That's okay. But what it is it's in preferences on calendar where it's in system settings on the iOS devices. Okay? So it should all be on iCloud. And then, because I inevitably get it, Ken, I made an appointment, it doesn't show up everywhere else. Well, sorry, you got to have this set right. Okay? And iCloud is the best for this. The other thing you want to show is on here, show birthdays calendar and holidays calendar. Birthdays calendar is pulling the information from your address book. That's how it does birthday calendars. You don't have to go through and enter everybody's birthday on the calendar. Okay?
When you say that about birthday calendars, did you just pull up the calendar will it show?
Right here. Here's my birthdays.
Touch it, okay.
See right there? And see, it's a subscribe to calendar. In other words, it doesn't really exist in my calendar. It's going in and harvesting the information from contacts. So, and it puts a little bow tie around it, okay? And if you have the year put in there, boy, I know Phil is older than 51, so that's wrong. But if you put the year in, it will calculate the birthday for you, or the year. Okay? The other thing you can subscribe to is a thing called U.S. holidays, and you subscribe to that. I would just do a Google search how to subscribe to U.S. calendars.
And I see you have it, because it's audio, but I can't know if you
Hang on. Let me double click on it, and it'll tell me. Oh, because I've set that as a repeat for some reason. And this is Christmas. So let's see what happens when I delete. Now, see, that's that color. I have two different U.S. holidays, so watch this. Gone. Actually, I want to leave it on the iCloud, so I'll get rid of that one. For some reason, that's an old subscription I have, I think. When I say it's a subscription, like there's Formula One, okay? Formula One racing. I go in and I say, I want to get the year's calendar for the Formula One races. So I go subscribe to it, and then it puts all that information in here. And if a date changes, it updates automatically. Holidays, of course, change all the time. You know, Christmas is always the same day, but a different day of the week. Or Easter, of course, is one. Daylight savings time, things like that change every year. All right, so that's calendar. Again, to do a new event, I double-click. Actually, let's go to today.
You can scroll down your months right there. It looks like you're going in different months. Mine just seems to have one month at a time.
You're not in Mavericks, probably.
Not in what?
Mavericks?
No.
Yeah, so in Mavericks. Otherwise, you have to use this up here.
Okay.
And then the other thing you want to show on the side here is view. Show travel time's a new one that's really neat. If the person's in your address book and you make an appointment, it'll show you how long it takes you to get to that person, so you'll know when you have to leave.
Is that being in Maverick or is that about?
That's, I think, only Mavericks. Let me see one other thing here. Go ahead.
I don't have that, all that side stuff.
Well, that's because you're on the iPad.
Oh, that's all.
So if I go to the iPad and I go to my calendars, so there's my calendar there. And now if you really want the high stuff, you go right here where it says calendars. And there they are.
Oh.
Okay. Yes.
So when you were talking about birthdays from others before, when it's other than birthdays from others, you said something about subscribing. Is that the same as when you were subscribing to
Correct.
it's different?
Yeah, and so if you just go Apple, subscribe to calendar. Actually, I just booked a trip to. So there's lots of different things, but you just find to subscribe to calendar. You can have a Jewish calendar. You can do whatever, and you subscribe to those specific calendars, and it will fill those in. Made a reservation on Southwest last night, and on the screen there it said, "Do you want to add this to iCal?" Because I used to copy and paste and put my flight number in and everything else. Now it just says add to iCal. It says ICS. It pops up and it says add to calendar. Boom. It said iCal on their website. It didn't say calendar. You do it. Boom. Put all my information back in, all my notes. In fact, let's see here. Let's look at that event. It is coming up. Why am I in April? And let's go here. It is. So my rental car confirmation had its own on it, so it's got it there. And then here's Southwest Air, and there, thank you for purchasing travel, blah, 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 blah. And it's done. So that's a good thing. I can't wait till they do an iPhone app. They have an iPhone app, but I can't wait till you can check into Southwest with your iPhone. Okay. Just briefly, one other thing on calendar and we're going to use Siri to your calendar in a second, but remember I sent myself this email, and we had data detectors for the address. Look what happens here when I hover over a date and a time. I'm going to tap that, and it'll say, oh, class, I'll call it party, because that's what the title of the email or the subject of the email was. So let's say this email had a password you had to use to get into the party of the century in this email. So I'm going to do this. It shows me, oh, here's where it is in the calendar. Doesn't look like I have anything going right then. So I'm going to go here and say add to calendar. So I have just from email entered party of the century by simply clicking on the data detector. Okay? How tough is that? Now let's go back to my calendar. And if we look here, it was what, January 30th? Party of the century is right there. Now let's do this. I'm going to close this email, and I'm going to double click on Party of the Century, and it gives me all the information. But you know what? Oh, remember the email had a password on it. So it's 2 weeks, 3 weeks from now. I click on that, and it brings up and shows me the mail that I made that event from. If you do it from the email. Let's look how this looks on my iPad. If I go to calendar and I have party of the century, there it is. Boom, boom, boom. And I don't think it does do it. It didn't used to, but it shows me the email. Okay? So don't delete that email because it had the secret password to get in the door to the party of the century. No reason not to use calendar now. As far as calendar goes, calendar has some little quirks and things like that. It works pretty well, but if you want a really good alternate calendar program, it's called Fantastical. And it may still be on special. Let me check. Fantastical. So it's by Flexibits. See if it's still on sale. Free trial. So it was on sale. It wasn't free. So it's 99 bucks for the Mac. 99 bucks. $9.99 for the Mac, and then for the iOS device, it's I think it was down like $4.99. But it syncs real well. I downloaded it. Oh, I got to save 20% on it though. So that's not the price I paid. I paid $8 instead of $9.99. And it's a pretty neat little calendar. I've got it right going. I haven't really used it much yet. And where is it? Calendar has some quirks. This does some. It puts reminders in and everything. It's kind of in one pane, and I haven't learned it enough yet. So it's really just one thing that I wanted to just try, because I have a few clients that want to try use it. So I'm trying it out first, and I haven't used it very much. It went on sale. I says, okay, I'll try it now. So, but it gets fantastic reviews. So I just typed in. I did a Google search for Fantastical and Fantastical, and it's right here, and you can watch the video and see what it does. But it uses your calendar and your reminders and puts them all together. So in other words, all your syncing will happen anyway, because it reaches in and uses your calendar on your devices and things. So it gets great reviews. All right, so the next thing is, I think that's pretty much it for calendar. On your iOS device, I'm going to use Siri to make an event. So on your iOS device, one sec. So you hit the plus sign to add a new event. And here's what I want to show you, because in the calendar before, I used to always look at list, especially on my iPhone. This thing sucks to me. So the new way to get to list is if you click this magnifying glass right here, which is the search, it also shows you the list of your things coming up. Okay? So that's hitting the magnifying glass up there. Okay? And I can search for specific things, like I could search for Empower Mac. Yep, see, and it shows the events up there. That's a total search. So your question?
Maybe you know about it. I'm looking to use this to help me with when a call comes in to go see a customer, I will put their date in here and time and place. And let's say it's a go. Can I use that use that as a contact to start to get a dossier, a folder of the work run, and then the billing and stuff? Is it all connected all?
No, you need a contact resource manager. There's specific programs for that. Daylight, some other ones like that, and they're because that's a pretty extensive thing, and it's mainly because everybody's needs are a little different, so it's got to accommodate. But that's really more of a database or a contact manager, contact resource manager, because you got to have a tickler file to remind you. You can do it in here, but you got to do a lot of legwork. You might look into Fantastical, and I don't know, but it might do it, and they do have a free trial.
I just put an event in my calendar from an email. Now I'm in February. How do I go back?
Click the today. So the question is, how do you go back? So
Oh, okay.
why did this? Oh. All right, so that won't work. Let's see. All right, good. Okay, so we've got my iPhone up here, and we got my calendar up. So I just showed you how to enter stuff into your Mac really easy. But I'm going to make life a lot easier for you, because we all have Siri. If you have an iPhone 4S or newer, an iPad mini, or an iPad 3 or newer, and it's the best way to do this. So I'm going to take, and I'll move this out of the way a little bit. Let's do something, let's do January 6th. So I'm going to just get Siri up and say, schedule test January 6th at 1 p.m.
You have an event about Mickey Fisher that overlaps with this. Shall I schedule your event about test for Monday at 1 p.m. anyway?
Yes.
I scheduled your event for 1 p.m. Monday. The event is titled Test.
Okay. So I didn't have to go through all that entry. And if you look here in just a minute, you'll see test will apply, will come up right there. There it is. And it'll probably come up on my iPad in a minute too. And it has. So we learned how to do all that. I've got a pretty busy day here, so let's go. Schedule test 2, January 9th at 1 p.m.
You have 14 events that overlap with this. Shall I schedule your event about events for this evening anyway?
No, cancel.
All right, Ken, I'll leave it off your calendar.
So it will put it in just like you would, but how much easier is that? Or I can say, let's see, so I can say, schedule test.
When is your event?
Tomorrow.
What time is your event?
10:30 a.m. I have to wait for her to
I
beep.
set up your event titled Chat for tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. Shall I schedule it?
Yes. You wait for her to
Your
beep
event
to
is
give a
scheduled for
reply.
10:30 a.m. tomorrow. The event is titled Chat.
Okay. So that's how you should be making your calendar appointments and events. And it all synced with the cloud. Look, chat showed up and test. So I'm going to go delete all those things I just made, and they'll go across all my devices. So with Siri, I can also say, when is my next event?
You have an event at 12 p.m. Want to know more?
Yes.
San Jose at Colorado at Pepsi Center.
So I can be doing that, and she'll just give me my next event.
You can say, we don't have anything on such and such a date. You're out for dinner with somebody, and they say, I don't think you're.
What is my schedule for January 6th? Not sure.
Monday, you have 2 appointments at 10 a.m. and 1 p.m. Would you like to hear more about it?
No.
Okay.
So the whole time I'm in my car using Bluetooth in my car, I've never touched my phone. It's still on my wall, and I hit my little Bluetooth button, and it does it. You can't add contacts real easy, but you can do contacts. Remember we did nickname? There was talk about nickname. Well, I have a friend of mine, we affectionately, it's just a joke, we call him Schnitzel, so watch this. Send Schnitzel a text message.
What do you want to say to Gary Shelton?
Just testing Siri.
Your message to Gary Shelton says, just checking here. Ready to send it?
No, cancel. So it told me who it was by using the nickname. So if you, a lot of us have names that are hard to pronounce, it doesn't pick them up, things like that. So you can create a nickname for that person.
In the contacts.
Yes. Al?
How do you teach Siri phonetic pronunciation for a name? Do that?
You know what? I'm going to probably do a Siri class, and there's a little trick to it, and I can't remember. I got to get it down because I don't have it exactly right. Do you know how?
Would it help if you did a phonetic entry?
No, you don't have to, because you can teach it to pronounce one a certain way. But here's what I'll tell you is interesting. The shorter the name, the harder it is for Siri to pick it up. My name comes up Can all the time. Okay? So if you do first and last name, she says, oh, that's in the address book, it's Ken Spencer. Now, my client that's Ann Young is two quick, short names, so, you know, it doesn't make it. Her husband, Keith Young, is a little bit easier. So that's it for contacts and calendars. I'm going to go into financial stuff, and it's not going to take long because there's just one thing for everything that's financial, and that's called mint.com. I'm sorry? I'm sorry? And you get that result when it happens. That's when you get a misspelling. Boing. I like that. So Siri will check your spelling because Siri will never spell a word wrong. Because how Siri works is it records what you say for up to 30 seconds, sends it out over the internet to Apple's supercomputer in Maiden, North Carolina or South Carolina, and it consults a dictionary and comes back and gets it back to you. So this isn't a Siri class, but that's how it works. And it may give you contextually the wrong word, two, or two, but it will never misspell a word because it consults a dictionary. But you can ask Siri.
But it's good trick if you don't know how to spell a word.
How do I spell superfluous?
What was that again?
How do I spell expedition?
I found something on the
Never
web
mind.
about that.
We're going to wait till our Siri class. I don't want to get in the weeds. Sorry. All right. So what is mint.com? Anybody use mint.com? Love it? Now, you're going to see my financial information. And I don't care. Because you don't see my account numbers. You can't do any transactions on Mint. You can only view. Okay? Now, I have to use a live account to show you this. Okay? So, it's all out here for you to see. I don't care. Anyway, let me go to Mint on my iPhone because that's where it's the most useful. How many times? Okay, we all have done it where we go and we're wondering, did that check clear? What's this weird charge? I had one, PG&E started, they changed their billing name, and it's WEBPGANDE. Web Grande. Web Grande. That's how their name appears on the PG&E billing now, when it's an automatic withdrawal. I couldn't figure out what it was. So I called the bank and they said, oh yeah, it's PG&E. And because they only changed that name like back in May or something. And so it never had anything on my account before that. But I was able to find that in Mint. So I'm going to show you Mint here. And so let me just do that.
Can you use that on the Mac itself?
We're looking at it in Safari. Okay, this is my Mint account on that Mac. But the best thing is it's on my phone at all times. And I don't have to enter my password because when you go to the bank website, you got to enter your password and it takes an hour and they got all this security and all that crap, which is great. But you're not doing any transactions here, so they don't have to be secure. So it saves my password. I simply go to the Mint logo and tap on it, and I get this overview. Let me hide others just to make it. Okay. So in this, Mint's free. It's by Intuit, which makes Quicken. And so here's the bank, let's say, and here's your device with Mint. Quicken and Mint use an intermediary company. The banks trust them, and they give the information to Quicken. Quicken does not have a direct path to your bank. I forget what the name of this company is, but that's all they do. And they're the conduit. So in other words, no matter what happens with Quicken, they can shut off the spigot. I've had times where my credit union wanted me to update my password. So I had to go into their site through Mint and say, update your account here, and then it's fine. But remember, the safety is you'll never see my account number, and I can't do any transactions. Okay? Someone gets a hold of my phone, they can't do anything. They can only see what I have in certain accounts. They can only see what I spent on. All right? So if I go down here and I hit my accounts, you can see all the accounts are there. It goes down through. And if I want to say, here's like my Wells Fargo card. I want to see my transactions. There it shows my recent transaction. Uh-oh, got a McDonald's on there. A lot of fries. There's a surprise. Oh, that's the Shenyun, the thing that's coming to town, the Chinese thing. Take my mom and my brother and his wife are going. Oh, and see, that's uncategorized. Okay, so see how that's uncategorized. Now I'm going to tap on that transaction, and it gives me more information about that transaction. Well, I can categorize that and say, you know what, that is, probably it's under entertainment.
You set up the categories?
The categories come in, there are categories there automatically, and I think, I'm not positive you can do your own categories. For instance, where we have Empower Mac is out at Sierra View Country Club. So if I use my credit card or my debit card to buy lunch there, it shows up as gym. Because it's a sports facility, it's a country club. So I just change it to food and that. So anyway, yeah, sports, health, anyway. Food and dining.
It goes by.
It senses, your credit card statement will do that. So it knows, okay, it knows a gas station is a gas station. The weird one is it doesn't know Costco too well. But anyway, so this is a amusement, entertainment, amusement. So there it is. Now I can tag it with different tags, which are totally searchable. And I can create what kind of notes I want. Go ahead.
So then, does that mean that because they're using a password to get information from the bank, everything that is on there that has a password, they have to know, and if you change any of those passwords?
Correct.
they have to go through
If
the-
you go, like on my Wells Fargo account, if I go in and change my password, I'll have to change it here.
But what about Fry's or Southwest or?
That is, all that is, I'm not in Fry's, that's my credit card. Like when you get your credit card statement, this is my credit card statement, but it's real time. Okay.
So banking or money sources, every time you deal with that password, you have
If
to-
I change my Wells Fargo account password, I have to go into Mint, not change my Mint password, I change my Wells Fargo password. In fact, what will happen here, it'll say, we haven't been able to update your account, tap here to update. And then it takes you through Mint to your website of the bank and then has you put in your new password there. Believe me, this trusted intermediary is very trusted. The banks all trust them. Quicken just gets the information from them. But how much easier is this than having to go through and look at all your different accounts? For instance, here's checking, okay? So here's PayPal is on there.
How about
These,
reconciles?
well, I'll show you that in a second on the Mac, but I can go through here. This doesn't reconcile, okay? This is just a snapshot of it because Quicken you use to reconcile it. But so many people just want to see what happened, but then you can use this when you go to reconcile your account yourself. But let's go back to the version here, and I can take all my transactions. This is the Safari version, so this works on a PC or a Mac. See, I can even add a transaction here. You could have a reconcile transaction, etc. Let me see if I can add. Oh, you know what? I can do. Yeah, I'm sorry. Let me switch to that. I can add a transaction on the iPhone event. So let's say you do you pay cash for something and you want to record it. We're looking at the iPhone screen over there, the lower right. finding my location, which will put the GPS of where I am, and then I can put the expense in, what kind of expense it is, income, split it from last ATM, etc. I can put the amount in, and then it'll put that transaction there. But remember, don't do it if it's a check or a credit card, because it's going to end up coming in as soon as that processes. And believe me, the credit card thing will show up as pending minutes after you make that credit card transaction. Minutes. Now, obviously, a check won't come in until the check clears. Once the check hits your bank, it'll show up here. So if we go back to that, if we go to my checking account, I write no checks. Yeah, here's a checking withdrawal. This is an ATM. PayPal. Oh, here we go. Here's PG&E. Where was it? Look at that. PG&E. I started looking at it, I'm like, what the heck? So then what I did is I went into here and I searched for every transaction that had that on it, and that's when I went back and saw it. It was a monthly thing. So Amazon, there's credits, checking withdrawal, Sam's Club, and if I hit, let's say, Sam's Club, business checking, shopping, that's interesting. I'm sorry? Right up here at the top, I scroll down and I get a search thing. So that's, what was that? See, there's all the ones. And I can search by all accounts or just this account. But the thing for me is you want to see if a payment's posted. You want to see if a credit card's been debited. You want to see what amount you have available. But another thing I have is, this is the part that to me does everything better, because there's a lot of fraud going on these days. I have an alert set. If I have a withdrawal over a certain amount, it will alert me. And I go, look, okay, I made that fine. And a couple times I say, what the hell is that? And then I go back and research it and see what it is. But it's a good safety, because as soon as that transaction hits, it will give you an alert. This is all free, so what happens? Once a month, I probably get an email saying, because I have a business account that charges me, for my business, that charges me a monthly, because it's not free checking for business. It says, you paid a bank fee of $12 this month. You can save by getting an indirect. And that's about as obtrusive as it gets. And it's wonderful. Mint.com. I recommend using the the Safari one, to set it all up, because it's a lot easier to enter everything. But once it's entered, you just log in with your username and password here. And then the cool thing is, we're talking tax time, right? I can go in here and I can take and download my transactions. Come on, I haven't done this. I did it last year at this time. I can download it as a spreadsheet. Let's see.
Looking down, because I don't hear, what did you do with it? I was looking down because I...
Oh, I'm on Safari, on the version of Safari.
Oh.
Sorry. Hang on one sec here. I can sort by the different ones, but pending, I have pen 5. Oh, these are hotel reservations I made last night, and my extra for these are pending transactions. Oh, come on. I know it downloads it as a spreadsheet. Really, it does. No, see, that's the other thing with budgets, too. You can make some really good budgets, but edit multiple. Wow. Yeah, I'm in transactions. It might be an overview. So these are the alerts I have. Happy New Year. See, I had an account maintenance fee. In the past 30 days, I spent that on amusement. It says I usually spend 35. That shows you something about me. Protect you, and here's your budgets. You can do this. Add a goal. You can set the budgets you want. And You know what? I'm sorry. I'll have to find it out. Maybe I'll find it right after the class for you. I don't want to get hung up on this. There is a way to download your transaction. I mean, to download them into a spreadsheet. Cheryl?
I have a dilemma about categorizing things versus one. Because I've already set up my checking account so that everything is.
Yeah, let me see if there's a way to. So I'm going to see if there's a way we can do custom categories. Is that what you're looking for?
Well, no, I'm already categorizing everything on my checking account.
Right.
So.
Oh, then it should come over. This should use the same criteria because what it does is. See here, let's see, categories.
Over on the right, see it says add category.
Edit categories.
But it's only, it looks like it's only on the ones that have breakdown.
Yeah, because obviously uncategorized, but like income, see it's edit categories, so you can edit your categories here so you can make them coincide with your banks, or does it come up different on Mint than it does in your bank?
I'll have to go back and check.
Because it should do it the same.
It's showing some, so. I'll look.
Okay, so there's another question here.
Yeah, access questions, when you open this, you just punch in icon and you open immediately to your date. And is that true on the phone and on the iPad and on the?
On the laptop, you usually have to sign into it.
You do on the laptop?
Yeah.
But the other ones, anybody can just punch in
hmm If I choose it to, you can tell it to not do that, but
You can't.
when I want it, you know? I'm that kind of guy. And again, it sounds risky, but it's not. Because all they can do is see what you have. They can see where you bank, but they can't see your account. And they can't do any transactions. That's why I'm not afraid to show this up here. I have nothing to hide. There first, and then we'll come back around.
Yeah, can you do categorized business and categorized personal?
Well, yeah, you would make it a category, but if you want to have categories within categories, you would have to have different accounts. So the other thing is like I have an account at Wells Fargo that's my account, but my brother and my mom and I share an account that my mom, she's 89, she wanted to set it up. So there was cash in there before the estate gets settled and everything, just so there's money available to do things. And that showed up on here as part of my money, and it's not my money. So I just told it to hide that account and not show that account in Mint because I don't want it. I couldn't commingle the funds because I can't do any transactions anyway, but in fact, I don't need that to show up because it wouldn't be part of what my stuff is. You can do your brokerage accounts, credit cards, credit unions, banks. Again, brokerage accounts, money market accounts, any of that stuff.
So it doesn't calculate it if you hide it?
If you hide it, it doesn't work into it, yeah. So, and again, I just excluded that one because it's just $5,000 sitting there, and I didn't want it to. Because then, I got more money than I thought. Yeah, I don't really, you know. Mom would disown me, and So, Charles.
Do alerts on credit card expenditures?
Yes, you can manage your alerts. You also, in your bank websites, can manage your alerts. I think that's important to do, is set alerts. You can say any transaction over, say, $500, give me an alert, things like that. And you can do text alerts. You guys, that's going to be the best way to protect yourself because otherwise we're constantly going to be looking at it, right? Well, here it shows up as a little badge that says I have an alert. It'll show me that, I overspent on my budget. I never configured a budget, but it kind of does a round one for you. But it kind of does, you're spending more this month than you have in the past, and you can see those trends. So you can use them or not use them all you want. Question back there first, then you.
The Wells Fargo does download these anyway. I mean, it's Quicken. So
It's not Quicken.
it's not Quicken, but it's other things.
Yes.
Yes. So do they blend them together in your software?
No, all this is doing is looking at your account. Quicken goes and looks at your account.
There's no touching.
I cannot change the results here. Only thing I can do is put tags, categorization, and notes.
Yeah, well, I was saying, I mean, you're doing, continuing daily, sorting and stuff instead of like, at the end of the month, you know.
Yeah, you can do it on the run. You're sitting waiting to get your oil changed in your car, and you can go in and categorize things if you want. You can say it's tax deductible or not tax deductible.
So I was thinking when I download my statement from Wells Fargo, I wouldn't have to go and do it in there, you know, put the categories and do all that category stuff. It would do it for me.
Yep.
Would it?
And it's usually pretty good.
Oh, it would go in, and when I download.
It won't send it back to the bank. It's only in Mint.
Only in
If I tell it that Sierra View Country Club, if they categorize it as a gym,
Yeah.
and I change it to food, only the next time here it shows up from them it'll be food. It won't change it on their end because that's the information that comes from the retailer. You can't go reinvent all that.
Right.
You want nothing transferred to the system.
No.
Okay, so I was hoping when I download it, instead of going back and doing all
No, and most of the stuff you can do in Quicken. This is just a lot easier.
Yeah.
So, and you can't write checks here. You can't do anything like that. I mean, again, it's just a view. The only thing you can actively do is add transactions to it, but that's only within here to keep track of things. Leslie?
How do you set an alert?
You're on the iPad. Well, I'll go into the iPhone. So, go to Accounts. Got it up here. Overview, Settings, Accounts.
No, wait, before you,
Let me just check it first to make sure.
so you set it with NIT, not with the.
Well, you can do it with your credit card companies, and you'll get a text alert, but you can have Mint send you an alert. Gosh, I'm going to have to figure out. Excuse me.
So it's probably better to go to the credit card.
Yeah, because you can get text. I'm just saying this will. You have the ability to show up. Man, it's been so long since I set an alert. Done. Wow. You may have to do it here. Excuse me.
Are you on the computer now?
Yeah, I'm just looking if that's the only place to do it. Yeah, and so you can even do your scheduled upcoming payment. Oh, wow, this is interesting because I just recently scheduled my credit card to auto pay, and it's already showing up here that I have that coming. Or upcoming bills, my two different credit card ones. Wow. Here it is, alerts. Change your alerts and set up mobile alerts. Okay? So you have to do it. You have to do it on. You have to do it on the computer version.
Oh, okay.
So you can go to a website on that. All right. So so that's Mint. You guys have the investment in it is going to help you in the long run because how much time is lost logging into your bank website all the time when you just want to look at something, you know? Huh? Yeah. Really? Oh God, they're usually so interminable.
Do you have any recommendations for accounting software?
A lot of people use Quicken. It still kind of works. Quicken 2007 still works on the Mac. A lot of people use iBank. That's one. And what is it? MoneyDance. Rocky has tried and liked it. So I frankly just use this. Satisfies all my needs because I don't write any checks. Oh, Quicken Essentials. A lot of people like. I would go to when it first came out. It was very neutered. It didn't do much. It's doing a lot more now. All right. Along with that, we're talking about banking is deposit checks from your iPhone or your iPad. You are able to take a picture of the front and the back of a check and let this catch up here. And you take a picture of the front and the back of a check and you will deposit it right into your bank. It will look at the check right away and say, oh, it's really blurry, that doesn't work, etc. And then you can modify it. I hold on to those checks for 2 weeks or so because it'll tell you if it's accepted right away. But I wait for it to clear. I put a little note on it in computer or whatever. And then after 2 weeks, I shred that check. So you don't have to go to the bank anymore. My 89-year-old mother loves it. It was a hassle to go to the bank. It's not like that's a big social thing. She can do it from her iPad. She loves it. That obviously doesn't come through Mint. This is the list of the banks that do it. Golden One accepts it. Wells Fargo, Bank of America, Chase, Citibank. What, Bank of the West does? Okay. Let's see. Schwab does. Okay, anybody have a bank that they don't know if it does or not?
Exchange Bank.
Probably not. Charles Schwab. But somebody said Schwab did. Yeah, Schwab does.
I have Star One.
Sometimes you can go to the website or ask them. Star One. Believe it or not, and my credit union doesn't do it. Heritage, the old Mather Federal. This all happened because of 9/11. Because when all the airplanes, so when you take a check to the bank, they put them in a box and they take them to the airport and put them on a plane and send them to the Federal Bank in New York. And they clear. It's amazing that they would clear in 3 days. But that's how it worked. So if you remember, after 9/11, the airlines got shut down. There were nothing could fly for 3 whole days. So they said, you know what? It's a screwy way to do banking. So they initiated this ability to clear checks electronically. So now, when your bank runs the little check through their little reader thing, that's instantly taking it and doing it. But it has allowed the ability to do things like this where your checks can clear electronically. That's why you don't get real checks anymore, your canceled checks, because they take a picture of it and you get the picture. It's a lot safer too, so people don't interrupt your mail and get your routing numbers and all that other stuff. So that's what's allowed this to happen. People are a little weird about it, but you know what? It's a heck of a lot better than mailing them or doing anything else. So you can do it. It works really, really, really well. Now, can something happen fraudulently? Yeah, but it also happens fraudulently with regular checks too. But it is a pretty good setup. I really, really like it. So, again, most of them do it. There's a big list on here. Some score got updated. Whatever it is, I'm recording it. I don't want to see it now. So there's also, there's these places where you can go get your credit scores. And the majority of them aren't free. They're free for first, and then you set up auto pays. There's a one where you can get your credit reports from each of the agencies once a year, so you stagger them out so you can go on. But there's a free app called Credit Karma. Yeah, and they're free, and they're ad-supported. So it goes in, and yes, you have to give it your social security number and stuff, and you can go in, and it will update, and it'll tell you different things about your credit. Like, my credit score isn't great because everything's good except I don't have enough credit accounts. So I get a D because I don't have enough credit accounts. And it was even worse before because I pay my credit cards off every month, but now I'm at least putting something on the credit card in the meantime, and it does it. So Credit Karma, it's all free. It's really good. It won't be an exact FICO score. I just heard, what is it? Discover now will do your FICO score on your monthly statement for you if you want. That's another ad I saw recently. That being said, a guy that's a proponent of that, ClarkHoward.com. Everybody should. He used to be here in the radio in Sacramento, but they've changed him for something else. Come on. Hello. Let me get out of there. Yeah, he's on HLN for a short time, but I listen to his podcast. Wow, something's really weird on my computer right now. My trackpad. Somebody's Bluetooth is messing with me. Well, anyway, ClarkHoward.com. He has investment sites. He's a retired travel agent. The guy's the nicest talk show host you will ever come across. Just a great, great individual. But he has a lot of deals on there. This is going into my whole deal site thing. I'll list it on the internet here. I have CNET.com, a guy named Cheapskate. For some reason, let's see here, what's going on? Oh, that works. One sec here. Let's try Safari again. Oh, my mouse just isn't working. Reflector has taken it over, I think is what it is. Yeah. ClarkHoward.com. Wow, something has stolen my cursor. This will be really difficult to finish up. Someone have a Bluetooth keyboard that's mistakenly... Someone's got my screen. I give up. All right. Unfortunately, we're going to lose the video. So I'm going to wait till the end and refresh everything because that way I lose video. So I have a few websites, and I'll list these up there. Fatwallet.com. And you go to their forum, and hot deals is always where it is. Slickdeals.net. And again, I will post these. I apologize. I'll forum hot deals. Hot-deals.org. And then the sites that a lot of us go to at 9 and 10 o'clock every night, one sale a day, the number one, S-A-L-E, actually it's just onesale.com, but it's onesaleaday.com, and they'll post deals at 9 o'clock at night. They'll go to 9 the next day, 9 p.m., so it's a 24-hour thing. Another one called Woot. We all like Woot, WOOT.com. You'll find little deals like this. Bluetooth shower speaker that's completely waterproof that also has a microphone, and I can answer calls in the shower if I want. Not that you want to, but I use it because I listen to podcasts, and I hang this up in the shower, but I set my iPhone over on the counter, and it goes by Bluetooth, and I can listen to the podcasts while I'm in the shower because you can't have wasted time.
It's conserving water.
It doesn't mean I'm going to take a longer shower.
Oh, it doesn't?
No. But I can't have, if my shower takes 3 minutes, I can't have that not where I'm learning something. There's not enough hours in a day.
How's that doing in a room? Pretty good.
You guys heard it here. It's not real loud. So it was $34, so I thought I'd give it a try. But I did like that it has, most of them are just speakers. There's some better ones that are just speakers. This can do two-way conversation. You can do Bluetooth on your iPhone. Techbargains.com. Another one called Deal News. Oh, and please sign up for birthday lists. I'm lucky enough to have a birthday coming up next week, and Benihana send me $30. It used to be where I could just spend the $30, but now I get $30 as long as there's another entree bought. I'm going down to LA because I have to do a work down there on Friday. So I'm going down a day early because on my birthday I can go on the Catalina Ferry for free and save $80. Just everywhere, just wherever they are. You know, you sign up at Black Angus, you sign up at Red Lobster, you get a lot of different ones. I'll post, there's a birthday list deal site that gives you a lot of these. There's some great ones. There are some really, really good ones, and then there's some ones that are okay. So, but always do your birthday. And like I said, we're going to have the Frugal Guy mailing list coming up today, and today only at Fry's. You get a $50 iTunes gift card for $40. So, something that's right, and it's available to part of this whole, I forgot this, part of this, getting all your stuff together. There's a free app. It's free right now. It's a great app, and it may only be good for a day or two. It's called Scanner Pro. SCANNER Pro by Readle, READLE, ADLE, and it turns your iPhone or your iPad into a scanner of which you can scan receipts or things like that, and it works just like, Leslie, your scanner that won't work.
Nice.
It's a great app. Readle makes great apps. And it does a really good job. It'll find the edges of the page and everything else, and it is just like a real scanner.
And it works with your what, iPhone?
iPhone and iPad.
Wow.
And where do you get this?
In the App Store, in the iOS App Store, it'll work on your iPod Touch because you have a camera.
Yes.
Robert?
I think it's the Apple app of the month.
Yeah, or a week, I think, or something like that. Yeah.
That's why it's free for, I think, a week.
Do you have to get these separately, or if you get it for one, will it?
Good question. So first of all, the Mac is separate from everything else. It has an App Store, and I wish they had called this the Application Store because then we could delineate it a little bit better. But if you go to the App Store on your iPhone or your iPad, and it has a plus sign on it, it's the same app for both. Some apps have a separate iPhone and a separate iPad app. But an iPhone app will always work on the iPad. It just can blow it up, but it doesn't look as good. Okay?
Do you have to load it on both physically, or does it?
So like for instance, where this is free right now, go buy it on one or go to iTunes in here and download it because you've bought it, and then you can add it to your devices at any time because you've already purchased it. Okay? And I'm sorry, but I can't save you 20% on the free ones. Yeah. I'm looking over my notes here. Go ahead.
Kim, what is the advantage of using that Scanner Pro app over, say, Evernote or Dropbox?
The question was using the scanner app over Evernote or Dropbox. This is actually a real scanner. Does it know OCR, I think, doesn't it?
I saw a little blurb on when I was going through the menu.
Yeah, I just downloaded it last night, and I'm not sure if you can make it into a PDF. But its whole purpose is to scan. Evernote, which I had on my notes here, but Pete does some great Evernote classes, is the cataloging of those receipts and those scans. And Dropbox is the receptacle for those. But Readle will definitely scan to either of those. The Scanner Pro will scan to all those. Don't get confused. There's another one out there that's called Scanner Pro, and it's the police radios. So, and they don't do Sacramento County anymore or something. They dropped it out of there. I got it when it was free.
They're both the exact same name?
Yeah, but one will be by. That's why I said Readle. You'll see it's a little image of a. I can't click. It's an image of a scanner with the lid open. Okay, quick little questions and answers as long as I don't have to click on my computer screen.
Is it better to save stuff as a photo or as a scan thing?
Okay, when you're from a scanner program,
Well, yeah, like I like to, if there's an article or something that I want to, or a pattern for knitting that I want to save, I will sometimes scan it, but should I just be taking a picture?
picture's the easiest, but you can, if you use the scanning program, you have the option to save it as a PDF. And a PDF is more portable, doesn't take up as much room as a scanned document. But that brings up a great point. Everything in my house, I've gone and found the online manual in a PDF, and I save it to iBooks.
What?
I save it to iBooks as a PDF. My microwave, my TV, and all that. So I have that right in there, and it's on my iPad when I need it. But what's really cool is you guys have the best camera in the world when you have an iPhone or an iPod Touch with you because you can take pictures. I was having to rewire something, so I took a picture of the wires, how they were, what colors were there beforehand, and I had that because, we all pick out the little chart, and you're using blue ink, but you say, well, this wire's green, really, this one's green, you mark it green, you take a picture of it, and it's great. Use that. If I'm at Costco and I want to make sure I remember the dimensions of something I'm thinking about, or if I want to price shop it, I'll take a picture of it there. So use that for things like that. Yeah, they show up, but you can delete them when you want. So, even?
Can I ask a calendar question?
Sure.
Okay.
If I could get to, I can get to calendar. I can't do anything with it.
Okay. You were showing it
It's end of life.
But, so why do you use it? Would it be good to?
I don't.
I could get it?
I don't.
Oh, you're phasing it out too.
Yeah, I never really. I had a client that was using. She uses it extensively, and it's still being just like iWeb. It's still being used, but I had to troubleshoot some things for her, so I went into Bento and stuff. Bento was a good idea, but if you're going to do something like that, you need to get more like a contact resource manager or just go full bolt to FileMaker. And a lot of times there's a lot of great online things now. Now we're all syncing in the cloud. This whole, all Bento really did was it kind of brought calendar and contacts together. And I really think Apple misses the boat. The best one in the world ever was years and years and years ago by Guy Kawasaki, and it was TouchBase Pro and Datebook. And oh God, if they could make those again. You could print great things. You could print mailing lists and stuff. I kept one Mac that could run it for the longest time just because of that app. It was great. Sorry, a little nostalgia. Played a little music. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
Ken, since
How you doing, Chuck? I didn't even see you there.
Since I downloaded Maverick,
Uh-huh.
my computer operates so slow to open everything.
Yeah, but it was free. If you paid for the $20 version, it would have been faster. Common complaint. I think it'll get better.
I shut it off once in a while to see if,
Yeah, and it doesn't help much. I know. And it's better about utilizing RAM, so I don't think it's a RAM issue. I don't think it's a hard drive issue. I just think it's did we come out with 9.1 or 10.1?
No, we're 9.1 now, I think.
10.9.1. Were we done an 01 or did they do a 1?
No, they did 1.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like a 1. I think they need to come up with a 1.1 or 2. I think they're working on it, but it's got some... as much as it didn't seem like a big deal, it was a huge behind-the-scenes update. Apple has all the money in the world, but they don't have all the people in the world. And while that's the one resource that it's very hard for Apple to get, and they're pulled in a lot of directions. And I'm not trying to justify it, I'm just trying to say why certain things get lacking is because they need to stay on the cutting edge. People were whining about not having a new type operating system in the phone, and then they spent the time on that. It takes time away from the other, and it just is the nature of the beast. And I think it'll get better. The underpinnings, it should run tremendously faster. And that's on regardless of what machine it has. Because the specs for the machine that run it have to already be up there. Back there?
I can't remember the exact wording, but since I have Mavericks, when I use iPhoto, it has to redo something. And
It's re-indexing.
Yeah.
Up in the upper right, it could be re-indexing your drive. God, why is my mouse doing this? Go ahead, Cheryl.
Is this Maverick program, could this be causing my mouse to freeze up on me for like 30, 60 seconds?
Just your mouse?
Just the mouse.
Yeah, gee, it doesn't do anything to screw your mouse up. I can't. My mouse is screwed up. That's where I'm having issues. I can't. My mouse clickers won't work.
So your mouse won't work right?
Oh wait.
There you go.
Wow, wait. Hang on. I double tapped.
See, that's exactly what happens to mine.
Yeah, but this was weird.
I have to turn it off. The back of the machine.
Yeah, but my thing's back. Thank God. Well, wait. I have to double click to actuate it. Oh my gosh. Let me just stop my screen recording so I can. Sorry while I have this. Something's weird. It could be, but what I recommend is, do you have a wired mouse? Go up and disconnect, go to Bluetooth and disconnect your mouse. say get rid of it and then reconfigure it. It's the only thing I can think of. But God, I'm sorry. This is weird. It's my trackpad. All right. Any other questions before we break? Go ahead.
Was that really Scanner?
Scanner Pro, and it's by Readle, like reading a book, Readle. I'd say there are 1 or 2 Ds.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry we didn't have the heat. I texted you. I didn't see your text till later. I texted you back and said, yeah, that's a...
I was late, I was driving. Thank you, it's good.
Bye, Cheryl. Happy New Year.
Thank you, and same to you. Hey, call me actually.
Yes. Now that it's cool, I can go to your attic, too. God, I wish I could figure this out.
Thanks, Ken.
My mouse? Somebody here have a somebody else have a Bluetooth mouse? I wonder if somebody else has got a... Oh, I shut this off. That didn't do it. Take care, Eva. So my keyboard commands work.
Thank you, Ken.
Thank you, Charles. Take care. Okay. Ah, good. I can save it. Save.